Okay, the spiritual meaning of the seagull. Let me tell you how I got the download first. So I was just sitting in the car and I was thinking about this Key and Peele skit where they're playing these characters that are on a plane and they're like preparing for terrorists, right? So they like have these weird cornrows, like, and kind of, I feel like they may have even like drawn their teeth in to have a tooth gap, and they have a lisp, right? And they're bothering the man that they're sitting next to, saying like, you know, are you ready for the terrorists? Like, we're ready to get these terrorists. And it's they have a lisp, like the whole, it's literally hilarious. And he's like, you know, they're just like these weird characters basically that are prepping for terrorists, and they're trying to get this other man involved. Like, if you know, you need to be ready to fight them down, you need to be ready, right? And so in that skit, one of the men mentions Jonathan Livingston Seagull. Jonathan Livingston Seagull is how he says it. And that just popped up in my head. And so I look it up, and then I learn that it's a novella, like a fable about a seagull that wants to learn all the different ways that it can fly, right? So in this novella, the seagull is, you know, trying to learn how to fly, but the flock that he lives with or surrounds himself with is telling him that seagulls only fly to learn how to eat, right? So it's like, Jonathan, the seagull's name is Jonathan, if you want to fly, you need to just learn how to fly so that you can eat. Like, that's the only reason seagulls fly. That's why we do what we do. But Jonathan wants to spread his wings, learn how to fly at the quickest speeds, learn how to do drop dives, and do these things just for the experience and the experiment. And so by him continuously practicing that, he gets a lot of judgment from the flock. People judge him, tell him that he's being silly, blah, 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 that he shouldn't, that he doesn't need to, and, you know, that it's pointless. And so he goes through this back and forth of not really knowing whether he should or shouldn't, you know, like, am I being silly? Am I wasting my time? So he tries all these different ways of using his wings, you know, like, if I do them shorter, I can go quicker, like, and he's thinking about also other, there's bees, hold on, I just don't want it to go in my ear. Okay, sorry, but like something about a falcon. I guess like falcons have shorter wings so that they can fly at quicker speeds or something like that, right? And so he's comparing himself to like other birds that can fly faster and that eat mice while he eats fish. And so he's feeling this judgment of like, you know, if I was meant to fly faster, then I would have wings that would allow me to do that. If I could, then I would. If it's this hard, then it must mean that I'm not supposed to do it. And so I need to just go back and be like a seagull, you know, like the flock said, I need to just go back and do what they say I should do because it's too hard, right? And like, it seemed like that was a part of his issue. Like, everything just seems too difficult, and it's like, I'm not fitting in, right? So seagulls represent independence, making decisions for yourself, sovereignty, and learning how to expand just by yourself, despite what may be surrounding you, or who may be surrounding you, or the opinions that surround you. And so then at the end of the fable, he finally learns how to do like the fastest speed that a seagull has ever flown, right? Like jumping from, I think, 5,000 feet and doing a drop dive And then he learned that if he turns his wings in a certain way, like makes his wings a little bit smaller, it helps him fly faster so that he can do the drop dive and then safely land. So he learns, you know, and I think he had parts where the other seagulls were trying to kill him for doing this. Like, they were that mad that he wanted to do it, right? And like, I hope you're seeing the parallels, right? Because this is honestly the spiritual experience, the sage experience of like people being so antagonistic about people trying new things, expanding their spiritual minds, expanding their spirits in general, right? And just like the hatred that can come from that, like the deep negative ass energy that can come from just like someone trying to think outside of the box, and how that can also be basically, that's the antagonizer right there. And I thought that that was interesting in the Key and Peele skit. They're trying to warn this man about terrorists, talking all this shit, you know, you better prep for those terries. And he said Drax la Sklounsk is literally what he said, and I don't even know what that means. Which, even right there, symbolism. Like, I don't know what these people are even talking about, right? Like, half of the shit that they bring to you is just bullshit. Like, the antagonists, when they antagonize you, it's like, what are you even fucking talking about? I'm gonna put the link in the bio so you can see the skit. It's like, who are these dudes? What the fuck? So it's that kind of energy, but it ends up that they're the terrorists. They brought guns on the plane. Like, it was them. So the man ended up having to say they have a gun, and then they're the ones that end up being put, you know, hands behind their back. So it's kind of like the people that are literally trying to tell you what you should fear, what is not right to do. Like, they are the antagonizer. It's them. You know what I mean? Like, putting fears in your mind, making you feel like you're doing something so wrong for trying something new. And embodying the energy of the seagull is to just do it anyways. See where you fit, see how it works, be okay with trial and error. And be okay with like this singleton. I kept saying single, Jonathan Livingston, it's Seagull, but I was saying single. And that just kind of kept coming out of my mouth. And I think that that's also another example of being in the seagull energy, is being single. Like, and there's a difference, I think, between being single and like really single, or being single just because you want to, like, you know, be with like, just be free and be with anybody that you want. Like, there's dating, and then there's like actually single. And people will hate on the singles. Like, you can be single as long as you're fucking, but are you like, you're single and you're not seeing anybody? You don't want to be single. What are you gonna do without a man? You don't have a lady in your life. You don't have, you know what I mean? And I feel like for feminines, it's more common. Men, it's like whatever y'all do, you know, they should be single, right? Men should be single. But women, it's like, oh, you don't have a man? What are you gonna do? You know, and it's kind of like, that's one representation of just having to ignore the foolishness, like trying to put fear into you. Like, you shouldn't be single. You're not safe if you're single. You're not gonna be happy if you're single. You're not gonna, you know, who's gonna support you if you're single? Or like, yeah, you can make it on your own, but then who are you gonna be next to at night? Or like, just all these kind of energies. And I don't know, I like companionship. I think it's a really, really beautiful thing. But I also think that The people who are telling you that are the folks that aren't even happy in their own relationship, right? Like, it's like, that's the terror-y energy. Like, it's like, who are you in a relationship with? Are you happy in it? Are you happy? You know what I mean? Like, okay, no, because like I'm just trying to find other ways to be happy also. You know, that's the seagull energy. Like, that's the seagull flying alone, right? It's just kind of the reality of it. So if you see a seagull, that could be one thing that is telling you, you know, travel the path less traveled, try new things, be okay with just kind of experimenting, freeform. Another thing that's interesting about the novella is the I do think I said this. The seagull said, we only fly to eat. What does that sound like to you? We only do these things if money is coming from it, if we're getting material gain from it, right? Like, no one just flies to fly is basically what the seagulls were telling him. But he's like, but I want to, or like, I want to try this. You know what I mean? Like, what? So even that can be a representation also of, or a message, I should say, of you may not make money from these new ideas right away that you have, or these new ways that you're trying shit right away. And what made me think of that is I saw 1033. And 1033 means the house of bread in the Hebrew dictionary in the Bible, right? House of bread it means basically just having bread, like the basics, bread, water. That's what house of bread means. Whereas 1233 means house of pasture. And house of pasture, I feel like, is like when you're really starting to have all of your have all your goody goods from like building and finally having that stuff, right? And it's like sometimes that journey of being at the house of bread, that's when people hate on you. That's when you get the hate. You're at the house of bread, you have the idea, but you haven't maybe reaped the rewards of it yet. Seven of Pentacles energy, like it's still building, it's growing, you're trying, trial and error. But it grows into the house of pasture. Like, it grows into it, but it takes time, right? And it's like, if every time you're in the house of bread and you listen to every Drax that's just talking madness out the side of their fucking neck, you know what I mean? You'll never get to the house of pasture. You'll never get there because you'd be too concerned about, and it's like, you guys have to watch the video, because it's like these dudes, if you saw them in the street, you'd be like, I'll never take advice from them. Like, really, like, they are just that out there. And so, but they are like so intense. The man's like trying to even understand what they're talking about. But it's that kind of energy of like, don't be phased. Don't be phased by the silliness. Like, straight up silly. All the while it's them. Like, all the while they're the one with the negative intentions. They're the ones who don't know how to just sit down and chill. It's them, And don't get it twisted. Like, it can throw you, right? Like, even in that skit, the man is worried. Like, where would like, there's terrorists on the plane, or like, what? Like, right? It can shock you or make you feel like, oof, am I doing the right thing? Am I safe? But it's like, yeah, overall, yeah, you're just trying something new. I think I saw a ladybug. Ladybugs are lucky, so if you're watching this, look, I saw 444. Ladybugs, luck for you. And a bee, another bee. Maybe I'll do a video about bees. But bees, I mean, I feel like you probably know bees are like, represent work, building, right? Eight of Pentacles vibes. Eight of Pentacles, but then also the Knight of Pentacles. But kind of like both. Just a different kind of work that it takes, right? Something like the seagull and the bee. Like the seagull embodying the bee energy in order to learn these new things. Try these new things. So for that to come through, you know, if you are relating to this, then that's a message for you that like, it's okay, you know, it will be okay. You may not have everything that you feel like you need from it yet, but it pays off. It does pay off. And it's kind of like you don't need any kooky ass creep to tell you anything about your plans, honestly. You really don't. And they still will, because it's like they can't not. These dudes, like, you know, it's these type of people, like, they can't not tell you. They will tell you. But you don't have to listen. You don't. Another thing I did realize about that novella is the work that it takes to ignore the creepies. Like, that is part of the work, right? Because I was saying, like, they're the terrorists. In the novella, him learning how to fly, right, was a part of his thing. Trying to learn how to fly. Many times he fell and got his wings all mixed up and hit stuff and had painful blows and all that, right? Then he goes back to the flock and all they're doing is telling him he's doing the wrong thing and that he looks crazy for even putting all that energy in there, right? Only for him to go back and try again and still have these fuck ups, then go back and have people like, that's why we said, you know, that's a part of the work. As annoying as it is, that's a part of the work of like having enough faith in yourself to still do it. You know, like I'm feeling it in my spirit right now. Like that's a part of the work. That's a part of the work, you know? And we hear it many times, right? What's that song? What is that song? What does it say? If I care what they was talking about, I wouldn't be here right now. What is it? Brent Fayez, but I don't know what the song is called. It's like, it's that kind of energy, right? And it applies to many, many different things. I'm just counting through my points. I want to make sure that I said everything. Yeah, I think that's it. So that's the spiritual meaning of the seagull. You know, trying new things, pushing the boundaries, and all that comes with it. And I think it's encouragement too. I don't know, I hope I said about the seagulls surrounded by crows. I kind of don't remember whether I said that or not, but that I was seeing some seagulls surrounded by a big old group of crows, and how crows can represent karmic energy or messages from the karmic realm. Sometimes I notice like they can be like telling you that a karmic is getting karma for what they did to you. Like sometimes seagulls will come like, hey, by the way, that person, yeah, they're fucked up right now. Like that kind of energy. I've seen that. But that they can also represent kind of just what the karmics are doing in general. Like, so when I saw the seagull surrounded by crows, after that I went through an experience of being just surrounded by a lot of karmic energy and like feeling very ambushed by the energy for just like a nice chunk of time, and it was fucking stressful as fuck, you know what I mean? So sometimes even like notice what you see when you see these animals, because it can give you so much information. Or I remember one time, you know, I saw like a group of 6 crows flying this way, and then one of the same crows went back the other way, right? And so that gave me kind of information about like what I felt like a group of karmics I was dealing with were doing at that moment. So look out for that. But if maybe you're seeing seagulls fly around you, many things, just like notice what they're doing, and it can tell you things about your life or things you're curious about. Yeah. All right, so hope that helped. Hope that gave you some information. Please like, subscribe, share, and look up the fable Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Jonathan Bach. I believe he probably went through an experience like that in his life. You know, like I don't doubt that he knows the spiritual meaning of the seagull, and that's why he wrote it that way. So it's definitely for the sages. It's for the sages. So enjoy, check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.